All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last game I think I have to cast for the day. I am Paddo, casting some AHGL action. This is gonna be a pretty sweet matchup. We have Epic Game, or not Epic Games. Sorry, gotta completely remove that. Almost did it again. We have Epic, who is a medical software company, is gonna be the blue team, and on the other side we have GREE. Which, as far as I can tell, I'm not quite sure, I haven't got a chance to talk with them, but as far as my research shows, I think it's like a Japanese social networking company. Not quite sure, but their name, if I have the company correctly, basically comes from the idea of 6 degrees of separation, degrees of separation, and therefore like, it kind of ties in, which is a pretty good name for a social media company if you think about it. In the end, everybody's connected by at least 6 people. Social media, making that probably less amount of people these days, at least with the way Facebook goes. It's probably 2 degrees of separation now these days. But I digress. So we actually did pick some bands outside of the normal picks here. The bands were Leona, Thresh, Alistar. Thresh, probably a band targeted at Capitan. If you look at his match history, he's been playing nothing but Thresh, and it's a worthwhile band in my opinion. Usually when new champions come out, they should be banned. Just if you haven't played against them, you don't know if they're good or not, ban them out anyways, because chances are that you're not going to be able to deal with it. It could throw you off. It could be a wild card. Might as well ban it. But in this case, Thresh is actually ridiculously strong. If you're going to spend a ban on Blitzcrank, you might as well be spending on Thresh as well, because Thresh is like almost a better Blitzcrank in my opinion at this point. We saw him in the last game the last game I just casted at 3 p.m. Saw him to great effectiveness in an AoE comp, which looks like it's kind of sort of building up the same way for GREE side. But overall, a worthwhile band. The other bands, though, were pretty much, Mal's, J4, and Elise. I have to believe some of those were targeted. I know J4 actually probably targeted back at the captain of GREE, 8berry, has been playing a lot of Jarvan his last few games. Probably a big fan, so decided to ban them out. And usually that's kind of what happens. A lot of these teams come in, they do a little research on Lol King or look into their profiles really quickly. Kind of stand for a lot of like kind of tournament formats too. When you run into a team you've never heard of before, it's like, I'm going to look at your past history, look at your most ranked champions, figure out where you're playing, and also the champions you kind of like to play, and see if there's anything in there I don't like. In this case, very focused on some targeted bans, it appears to me. Looking at the team comps, we actually have Lux, Nocturne, Ari, Jace, and Kate. And then for GREE side, we have Cho'Gath, Amumu, Nami, Talon, and Misfortune. GREE's comp right off the bat, very heavy AoE comp. Looking at least the way that the picks came out was kind of interesting to me, because Talon was the last pick for GREE, and then what Epic had on their board, Epic actually had Lux on the board as possibly the mid, and so they were building that, and then out came Lux as actually a support, I think, is the way it's going to actually end up panning out. And then Ari was picked up as their mid, which is kind of interesting to me, because they had an opportunity there to be like, ha, and Ari to me isn't necessarily like the best champion against Talon, because a lot of her success is built into mobility, and when Talon comes in, he silences you, which will remove your mobility essentially, because you won't be able to cast any spells to defend yourself. On the flip side, Talon could be picked off if he doesn't deal enough damage in that first little burst. He could be charmed very quickly, but Talon's kit is basically built to deal with AP mids, and as mobile as Ari is, she's not going to be that mobile till 6, and she's probably going to get a lot of harassment. Although what they could do is they might try to be sneaky and flip her out and maybe do something with Jace in the middle. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. The other thing they can do is they do have a Nocturne on the board, so if they want to try to roll that into an advantage, trying to pick off Talon, who's probably going to be aggressive since he has a pretty decent advantage in my opinion in lane, then they could pick him out being a little bit greedy. He goes in there for the silence. He runs out of escape mechanism. Nocturne comes in. They can buy and seal the deal. Could be a thing. Could happen. Talon did get a few nerfs with his rework. He almost had like a rumble rework kind of issue where his Q, his bleed, it wasn't actually working correctly. So when they buffed the other stats, like his damage got completely out of control. Kind of like when they fixed Rumble's flamethrower, and then they realized like, wait, this does as much as Fiddle's ult, and it's a normal ability with like a 3-second cooldown. We should probably scale it back a little bit. So it's kind of like the same situation, but he's still really strong, and it's definitely more this kind of new AD in the middle kind of strategy and situation that we're seeing from a lot of team comps and ideas, especially after Black Cleaver first came out, and Black Cleaver was just the bane of everybody. It really forced the strength of the game into the AD casters mid again, and then people started, I think that put enough of a spotlight on it that people realized after they scaled back, Black Cleaver tweaked a few things, that it's still a pretty strong and viable metagame strategy to actually run lots of ADs or run AD mid. It's doable. So we see that actually a lot more around these parts, but overall, GREE's team is just kind of that scary team from last game that we saw, as far as I'm concerned, where what happened is that the AoE team just eventually, once we got to the team fight stage, the AoE team was just so dominant, it wasn't really fair. However, and the team comp on the other side was actually pretty similar. We saw Ahri and Caitlyn were common champions in there, except for this time we see Jace and Lux, which I feel like are really good peeling champions. So against this AoE comp, they actually can do some stuff where they're actually going to have a lot of poke against them, and they can, as long as they don't get caught out, even if they do get caught a little bit, they can try to work together and not be able to basically extract themselves from any sort of weird team fight situation that does come up or come about. So both teams are starting out here a little bit like they're grouping up. All right, so it looks like red team's going to be heading down towards the red buff of the enemy opponent, or at least protecting their own blue buff. As I look at Epic's team, the blue team right now, definitely just kind of spreading out, trying to protect all angles here. We see Lux actually dancing back and forth there. I expect that maybe we'll see some traps from Caitlyn come in. Definitely, she wasn't quick enough to actually get out to the tri-brush, so it looks like she's actually hanging back in the jungle over here. Looks like she placed a trap over down here in case they try to invade on the red buff. And that's all really, really smart ideas of way to utilize Cupcake Trap, because really, in that stage, in this early stage of the game, you should get the best bang for your buck out of Cupcake Traps and use them as that kind of extra warding solution. And are we going to have an invade on red? Usually bottom rotating up this late means that there's going to be some sort of invasion, because typically we would see them more down towards bottom, and they're actually heading up and around. So they're actually taking a long path. I don't know how I feel about this. It's a little late, so unless they're going to 2v1 top, it kind of seems a little bit gambly to me. A little bit gambly. We actually have a ward down here. We're going to be able to catch out a late invade. I like that ward, or that move, using that that beginning throwaway ward to actually some great effectiveness. I like to see that. I see a lot of players not actually use their wards. You can see Lux actually just still has hers sitting in her storage right there, so she just not even going to use that. And now we have the blue pills back. But the thing is, like, they might as well. I mean, it's the safest way to go. But I don't know if they really needed them, or if they should have went in earlier so they could have backed off this bot lane quicker. Because as it stands, it's gonna take them a while to get there. And Cho'Gath runs over, and 2isThisMay is gonna see that red buff has been stolen. But at least they actually have that information, so we might see Amumu try to make a move on the map. Although he did use his smite, otherwise we could have maybe seen a counter invade. But as you look here, Misfortune is just basically getting to free farm and hang out. She's actually taking a few extra auto attacks on Spain. Probably doesn't need to do that. Probably needs to just keep them alive as long as possible. We actually see golems going down, so as late as they are, they're actually going to try to make up for this maybe with golems, is what it appears that's going down. But this big golem's taking quite a bit, and Caitlyn's taking quite a bit of damage, so we'll see. So looking at how this works out for, they're able to get that last experience. You can see your experience bar here. It's not up that high. Meow's Fortune's already level 2. Luckily, they're actually going to get a lot of this experience from these back minions. They didn't actually lose those. But overall, you're basically giving up level advantage early in lane, which is not something you want to see. We can already see Ahri pretty low here after coming down. Talon, you see the rate coming in, just going to try to deal as much damage as he can. Talon's build, you can see here, he's actually just went mass health pots, pretty much just stacking up those as much as he can. And that's kind of the response to the fact that, again, I'm going to point out this again, Elixir was nerfed. So it's more expensive, because originally we just see elixirs and pots. Now we're actually seeing something like this, where it's just like, oh, no, I'm just going to buy a bunch of pots because maybe I'll get some more heals out of that. Maybe the mentality that's coming in there, plus he can get a ward to protect himself. Again, maybe being a little bit too greedy when he does push in there. He already has Ahri down to 1 health pot, so his harass is working. and he actually has a ward up in that top lane. So this is actually a lot safer build for him to do, where typically now if you see a mid try to stack up, ooh, nice anticipation there by a bad lull player. Actually a pretty decent move. With Nami, she has really slow. That stun's very slow, so you have to anticipate your opponent's moves to get the max bang for your buck. But it can be very effective. And we see again, there's that silence. She doesn't really have a lot of response to that. Ignite going down, gonna seal the deal here. First blood going to Talon as he takes that turret. He gets put a little bit low, but overall just kind of what I expected from that mid lane, which makes the end pick, again, like I said, a little bit curious to me from Epic's end that they went Ahri into Talon, but maybe they'll be able to capitalize it and turn around now. Talon's going to have a big head about him. He's going to be like, all right, now it's just kind of my game. You get that good rush of adrenaline, but then the next thing you know, Nocturne, if he starts to level up here, he's already level 4, comes in at level 6 when you think you got her dead to rights. Could be totally turned around, and he looks very low in the spot lane. Jace getting a little bit harassed. Good little attempt on him, but Jace has some good mechanics to get out of this. Pretty hard laner to fight one-on-one. Still pretty good even after his nerfs. But they're just going to fail up there, and he's still going to chill out. He is going to chug through his last health potion. Looks like Cho'Gath has done the same. Pretty much everybody chugging through most of their health potions at this point. Ahri coming back to lane, has that Doran's ring to get a little bit more health, along with some mana regeneration, so she can try to farm. And really, she's going to have to start to get into a very safe, almost farm at range kind of rhythm for what's going on now, because Talon's just going to keep doing that, and she's already lost half of her health. Going to lose more by the time the bleed's done. And you see her chugging that health pot. She just has to stay back as far as she can, and then hopefully get a gank in here eventually at some point, because otherwise that lane's going to get old really quickly. Talon still has a ton of health potions, mana potions, working on a brutalizer, which will be a first item pretty much expected. Nami just going to eat the binding. But the bottom lane very healthy right now, and we see their CS is picking up. They did have that little extra time in lane. Epic Deshranked actually doing a pretty good job though at keeping pace, even though he was late to lane. Still got a lot of that CS that was pushing against his tower. So overall still pretty good. Cho'Gath getting outfarmed a little bit here, and you can see Ahri just constantly backed up. Ignite coming down. That's going to eat into this health potion, which is kind of nice, but actually... Oh, so that might see Nocturne going for the top. Wow, we see the charm coming in this way at Talon. Talon trying to close this off, but it looks like Nocturne will be able to steal the deal in the top lane, but Talon is going to be able to get this kill again in the mid lane. So nice to snowball that top lane against the Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath not level 6 yet, so he's not going to be able to start to feast and get tanky up, which is a good moment to abuse him if you can. We did see that Nocturne is level 5, so he's going to be creeping up now level 6. But they're going to need some help in that mid lane possibly. Again, if Ahri wants to have any real effect on this game, because I have a feeling Talon's just going to be all over, and they need to keep Talon honest. They need to, Nocturne needs to show him his face a little bit more, or at least run through lane a couple times and just back him off so that he doesn't just keep repeating his combo over and over onto Ahri in this mid lane. Mumu already has his Spirit Stone. Going to be going Spirit of the Golem, of course. Going to get tanky, like we see a lot of those tanky junglers now at this point. And has a pretty good clear behind him. Meanwhile, Nocturne going that Madrid's Razor, which is good for him. Attack damage, pretty much set up for that. He has a pretty fast clear, especially as the AD, very heavy AD jungler. Plus he has some AoE mixed in there, so he's very solid jungler. And it looks like really the Nocturne watch. Is he close to 6 yet? He's working up there. He should be close after maybe another camp after that Wolves camp. So that's going to be a timing that's going to be very important for Epic if they want to probably try to get the mid lane back in check. Nice little pink ward from Cho'Gath. It's actually going to cover the advance of a Mumu here. Actually has 2 pink wards. I actually really like that. I love pink wards in top lane. Having vision control is very good. Rupture and anticipation silence coming in. Jace, nice patience there, though, just dodging the rupture. Mumu really wasn't following up right away. The problem right now is Cho'Gath just hit level 6, so and he's used Feast, so he's starting to get some health in there to tank himself up, which will make it really hard for Jace to try to turn anything out after this. Although I have a feeling Nocturne, if he gets rolling, is going to be able to actually get off effective gank up there. But at this point, now they might have a little bit of damage to actually deal with Jace. Before level 5, Mumu and Cho'Gath, you could see the earlier gank. Jace was pretty much safe, even though they had a pretty good gank on him and ran him back underneath this turret. Still a lot of health when all is said and done. bring him in for, and there comes Nocturne in on the mid lane. There is going to be, but Talon's still going to be able to pick up that kill. But that's kind of what they need to do right there. That's what I like to see. That's what they should have been looking for all along. Although hopefully, ideally, Ahri wouldn't have died in the process. But able to pick up a kill, you know, that's going to help snowball Nocturne. Junglers can carry from the jungle, and Cho'Gath just being really aggressive up top. And meanwhile, Lux very, very low here, just going to flash straight away to try to get away from this. And Bullet Time is going to go in there and clean this up. And Cho'Gath just being really aggressive. I think he's kind of getting tired of Jace. That little poking, smug man over there with his hammer, laser, majigger. Just annoying the crap out of you, and kind of Ignite tried to go into Feast probably, and then was like, oh, he's not leaving lane, he's just chugging pots more. But that pickoff on Lux is actually really good. It's going to destabilize bottom lane, at least, although Caitlyn's going to be able to push up this lane, so I guess in the end, not that big of a deal. But typically it makes it a lot harder to farm out here if you do pick up a support or the AD, obviously. Very, very hard to stay in lane and get any sort of experience. Caitlyn trapping up a lot of that bottom. Lot of great warding actually from GREE at this point. If you look down here, they have double pink wards up here. No way wards are going to be placed there in top lane. Ward down here. They're going to be able to see anything coming from miles away if they want to try to make something happen. And really top lane should be completely safe at this point. And they know that if there's no wards here, there might be a good chance that Talon is going to be able to sneak up like this. And so this could actually be really huge because Talon's pretty buff at this point. He's on the doorstep of a Black Cleaver. And if they can actually get Jace to commit it all, he's actually going to use some speed buff here. So now he's going to try to run away. There's the slow rake. Will they be able to follow up? This is going to be very, very close. Using that extra speed buff. Talon trying to close it out. That last auto attack is going to be able to do it. Cho'Gath's going to eat a little bit of the tower aggro right there. And nicely executed right there from GREE. GREE just playing a really solid game. A lot of the stuff they're doing is very methodical, and I like the way it's panning out for them. This pink ward's up here working out very, very well for them. Bottom lane, Caitlyn's still farming like a boss, actually pretty far ahead of, actually not very far ahead, but 20 CS ahead of MF. That's a healthy advantage. It's about a kill in lane, essentially advantage she's been able to build up for herself. MF looks like she's going to be diving right for a Black Cleaver. She has Brutalizer, Vamp Scepter, so chances are that she's going to want to get that Black Cleaver. Then her Bolt Time's going to be able to really help shred the enemy team. They'll have double Black Cleaver actually at that point probably. Elixir Sightstone for Nami, I like that. Gives her a lot of sustain, but also gives her free wards. So she has a lot of bang for her buck. Whenever she goes back, she gets a lot of free stuff. That's pretty good for supports. They like their free stuff. They like their gold generation. Don't get to farm a lot. Pink ward, I actually didn't see them sneak in and get the pink ward at the blue buff. Nice catch out by Amumu with that bandage toss. Puts in the ult. There's Tidal Wave. There's Bullet Time plus Talon. And that's some disgusting AoE right there. That's like, she's like, I tried, but really nothing I could do about that one. And the ward coverage is pretty stellar. I didn't see when they put that pink ward though in the blue. They actually, Epic had put a pink ward at the blue buff against GREE, and now we see Ahri coming here, lands the charm, sitting in the make it rank, is going to get the true damage, going to ult back, just waiting for another set of cooldowns, and we'll be able to take out Misfortune. Misfortune trying to fight her way out of this, but not going to happen. Nocturne just backing her up just in case, up above her in case something did go down or anybody else was left up. Talon going to maintain his lane, make sure that's not pushing against him underneath his turret. He doesn't miss out on CS. Just going to keep that advantage up that he's building. Out farming Ahri, out killing Ahri. 5-1-0. A lot of the gold right now is on Talon, which is very, very good for GREE because Talon is one of those really, really stellar champions. If you can get him snowballed like this, he has a huge presence in team fights. Not that he normally wouldn't, but if you can get him fed, I mean, it gets pretty ridiculous. And another Ignite going down onto Jace, just kind of haphazardly throwing out those Ignites. And here comes the engage. On to Talon. They're actually still going to get the fear off, even though, and then the charm follow. This is some nice CC layering. Will they be able to get him? They should be able to do it, and they will. Love that comeback there from Epic, and now, oh, Jace is going to be tracked down here. Will he be able to escape out of it? And he actually uses that gate, gain a little bit of speed, come down here, is able to pick up the kill onto Cho'Gath and back off out of it. Amumu's taking a lot of damage from this turret. Amumu taking a lot of damage from this turret. This could be one of those scenarios where Amumu could get picked up, but Nocturne feeling very, very good for himself right there. Laser's going to do some surgery on the eyes of Misfortune. She can see now that it's time for her to back off out of this. and get out of dodge. Jay's still living up, and a Mumu running for his life. So great dealing right there by Pepper215 with that dive top lane. And Epic roaring back here, able to pick up some kills. Now they're taking a dragon. GREE looked like they were in a very, very healthy position, but with that pick off in mid, the great crisis management up at top during that tower dive and a dragon. Epic swinging back very, very strong here. Like that play, heads in the play. And you know, a lot of teams, it's easy to play from ahead. Honestly, a lot of teams know how to do that, but the teams that know how to play from behind, even maybe they don't fully realize it, and they weren't that far behind, let's be honest. But to look for plays and knock it down, that's a very good attribute, and Epic kind of showing it for us right here. It's like, hey, you know what? We're still gonna keep a very, very cool head when we get in these engagements and trades and make our plays on the map. We don't have to worry about the fact that Ahri's getting a lot of pressure from Talon in mid lane. But definitely one thing they are doing, which is working out for them now, you can see Talon passing over a lot of wards as he runs through here, actually juking back. Interesting, that ward falling down just at the right time, pretty much. Pink ward coming in here. I like this. They're actually gonna clear this out as Talon comes in. This is very, very smart by them. Nice ward over here by Red Buff. Another way they could possibly catch someone coming in, but Nocturne just kind of waiting around here because they haven't seen Talon. They had some information. There's a lot of effort that went in there just to put down a pink ward and remove it. So they might suspect, be like, hey guys, you know what? Talon's probably not here. We don't see him. Chances are he came back around. If they really pay attention to their map, that's probably the communication that's going down. Ahri's even down here too. So they might try to bait something out. I would almost bait Lux out and be like, yeah, here's Lux. Totally go get her, guys. And Talon's being very, very patient. He wants this. This is pretty tense because if he goes in, he's going in. And he's going to be very disappointed when he rounds that corner and sees two other members. And Bullet Time's going to come and try to do a lot of damage, but there's a lot of focus back onto Talon. Talon's going to eat an exhaust, but be able to get out of it. Laser coming in, hitting all three members of the enemy team. Ahri trying to chase this down. Very, very close. Almost has that true damage. Foxfire going to finish off Talon, and they're going to be able to pick up two kills in that bottom lane, and the game of patience and map control. And meanwhile, on the top, Jace picking up Cho'Gath, and Epic's, there's been a fire lit underneath them as they're going to pick up another kill and practically have an ace, except for a Mumu hiding his face in the jungle. Huge plays coming in from Epic, and this is a stellar example of just buckling down and just having a lot of map awareness and a lot of communication to set this up, to set up that gank and have that patience. At the same token, even though like I feel like GREE played it really well with Talon sneaking him in there, it was too long. Like there is some clock that has to be in your head that after a certain amount of time, if you don't see, like it's one thing if like you sneak in there and you set up that you're not supposed to be seen, but after a while, people know you're missing. I mean, you can only be so. Actually, Talon going in here might pick up a kill. He uses all. Yeah, he's going to be able to get this pretty easily, and Talon's still a man beast at this point. Don't be confused. He may have died a second ago, but he's still going to wreck Ahri. But overall, just good awareness. But you have to have that clock in your head, like I said earlier. Make sure that if you're hanging around that Tribush for that long, you have to know that they know you're there, and you should probably just back off, go back to farming, reset up something else. You do still have that warding, so you could even show yourself leaving. Even doing a circle would have been better for him than just hanging out there the entire time. Nice warding going on from both teams. Just trying to get as much information as possible. GREE's still a very ridiculously scary teamfight team. I mean, that team is just built to melt you once they get a hold of you. So you need to be very, very careful. Lots of multiple AoE disables plus an AoE silence, which is going to be absolute terror in a team fight. Probably one of the most actually effective abilities in a team fight. A lot of players aren't used to actually being silenced, and you take these champions, you remove all their abilities. Surprisingly enough, they're very easy to deal with if they're not an AD carry. And even if they're AD carry, this means they're easier to track down. But it's really big disruption for what a team wants to do if you can get off a well-timed silence. Even if there's nothing to channel that you have to deal with. And really, GREE just sitting around this mid lane looking for a chance for them to possibly come in and make a play. Although, as it sits, I mean, you saw the clear right there. The wave clear of Epic is very, very strong. Like, they have that poke disengage team. They have a lot of wave clearing. There's really no way that you're going to be able to just straight up push on them without, you know, having the wave instantly cleared. So you're going to have to make some really big commitment, get a pick off, something like that. You're not going to be able to just bulldoze them down. Get them out of position 5v5, get them distracted going to other lanes. We see Jace up in the top lane, doesn't have a teleport, but he's split pushing that lane for his team. He's going to be rotating back now, or should be. It looks like he's starting to kind of get the idea up here as a lot of members are coming for him. Has that pink ward up in this brush. He knows there's not a ward there. He's going to see Talon sneaking up, but should be fine. Nocturne actually chasing down here. Dodges almost a point blank bandage toss there, but now they need to be careful. This is a nice choke point for the engage here. Mummy ult a little bit too early, and we see right there the shot over the wall, very, very strong. And there's Bullet Time trying to force him out. Nocturne diving in here, trying to take down Nami. I don't know if that's the best target for them, but still being very, very effective. Laser coming in, trying to finish off some enemy members. Ace in the hole, gonna almost pick off Misfortune. Misfortune is barely out of this fight, but we have Lux coming in the backside, and she's pretty much dead. And there is the last member of GREE sitting here, gonna be picked up by a double kill by Jace, and that is going to be an ace for Epic Games, who's been playing these team fights in these games very, very well. That could have been really, really bad, but Mumu popping his ult early to get a lot of bang for a buck. Even Bullet Time was not as efficient as they would have wanted to. It would have been better, I think, if GREE had actually maybe pulled back and sucked them into this choke point instead of having them split between Jace attacking from this angle, 2 members here, 2 members here. It was really, really ineffective for their team fight, their AoE team fight comp, and how they wanted to layer all their CC and damage. And Epic took good control of it. And against a lot of big AoE teams like this, the thing you want to do to take them out of their game is you want to get them behind. And Epic's successfully been able to do it. They have a huge advantage now. And the problem is what we saw in the previous game that I casted today is the AoE team comp stayed even. And even when the other team got slightly ahead, they were still able to get a big, huge ace team wipe. And it was great for them. Now, that still could potentially happen for GREE. But the problem is now they're getting behind to the point where a Bullet Time Curse of the Sad Mummy doesn't absolutely melt the entire team. Even throw on Talon, they might be able to survive through it if they play their distance games correctly and position well. Even though there's a lot of damage potential here and they could still win a team fight, it's not as likely now because the AoE team comp, the damage is just not quite what it needs to be. They're starting to get, looks like a lot of them are focusing back on tanky items. At least that's what Cho'Gath and Amumu are working on. So they're going to be pretty tanky. But the rest of their damage output, don't know if it's going to come in there. It's going to be interesting because they're pretty much right now damage-wise just relying on Talon and Misfortune for a lot of their output. While the other team, they have Nocturne, Jace is going to deal a lot of damage, Caitlyn's dealing a lot of damage, Lux even's actually having a significant effect, and Arya. So they pretty much have Epic's, the beauty of their comp is it's range, it's poke, it does a lot of damage. Everybody's going to be pretty effective as we move along here. Where the enemy team, where GREE, you know, they have that AoE comp where they're relying on a lot of other people to set up for their damage dealers to do the big damage and clear people out. And if your damage quite isn't there and they do more damage than you, it's not going to work out. We see Nami almost being killed straight up there by Lux. Ace in the hole comes out, going to be blocked. Looks like here Nami's going to be able to be safe and sound. Just again with that split pushing like this, keeping this top lane pushing is going to make GREE have to think about it, have to respect it. See the clear power of Epic coming into play here. Looks like they just want to try to focus on and get this top turret. A lot of nice warding all across the enemy jungle we can see here from Epic as they're trying to sneak in behind, following up this Amumu. Misfortune's almost dead already, just trying to go head to toe with Jace, and Jace feeling pretty good, and we actually have the Nocturne engagement onto Talon. And without Talon, this team, and a pretty much no health Misfortune that doesn't exist anymore, this team can't defend this turret at all. We see another kill coming in right there. Epic just absolutely just dicing and slicing and dicing, some might say, and just dismantling GREE right now. And what looked like a game where I thought GREE was poised to take this one and be in the big, huge advantage, be in the driver's seat here. Looks like Epic said no, that's not going to happen. We're gonna set up some really, really nice plays in the early game with map awareness and take advantage of you, and then snowball that into this late game. And they have such a big advantage now that it's really their game to lose at this point. Team comps aside, I mean, it's like I said, they have 5 people that can deal out significant damage. It's gonna be very hard for this team that's behind to be able to survive through this. And the fact that Talon got picked off was huge. I mean, he's a lot of their damage output, and the Misfortune was already low when she went head to head with Jace, and Jace just kind of like slapped her away, dealt with her, put her at low health. Ari just said, well, screw it, at this point I can just go down and burst her. Blew her up, and then after, if you have an Amumu, a Nami, and Cho'Gath, I mean, 3v1, they're going to have a hard time actually picking off these enemy members because they're so mobile, and they're ahead by a lot, deal a lot of damage. You see Cho'Gath and Amumu didn't even really last at all. I mean, these are normally supposed to be very, very tanky champions, and they were having a really tough time surviving underneath the turret, so kind of worried for GREE at this point. Down 11 kills and 12k at 25 minutes in. Not the look you're hoping for in a lot of these team fights. And oh, nice catch by Lux right there. And the fact that the support can deal out that much damage, put you at half health, that's a pretty scary prospect in a lot of cases. Talon just might have to go back to base so they can be effective for the next team fight. But this ward coverage for, as we can just hop in here on the map, the ward coverage for Epic is absolutely stellar. All over the enemy jungle. Meanwhile, Red just trying to get their wards now. Run a little buddy system from Nami and Cho'Gath there, trying to sneak through the enemy. Actually has oracles, so I like this. I like that they're actually fighting back a little bit here, not quite just throwing in the towel. I like to see this this heavy focus on ward and vision control. It's something that's very important for this stage of the game when you are behind. Actually, still, if you can keep up vision control, it's really, really nice, especially for this AoE team comp. They might want to try to catch out their opponents, but they also don't want a Baron to get snuck on them. They want to be able to. They don't want to get caught out if they try to go pick up a buff or secure a buff. Looks like they're being very, very patient, trying to sneak through here, be as cautious as they can. Caitlyn up here, though. This could be scary for them if they get caught running through here. And actually, Jace getting caught out a little bit here. Talon is going to be able to take that. They catch him a lot, but they have no vision here, so they don't know that they put as much damage as they did. And oh, nice little dodge of the tidal wave there by Deshrank. Deshrank just juked everything Nami had for him, and that's pretty unfortunate. Some pretty slick moves right there. Oh, Talon. Luckily not eating that laser. That would have been very, very bad. But that's exactly the kind of thing they needed. Had some vision control in there. Were able to catch out Jace. And that's big for them. Epic still with a very commanding lead, though. And actually, I didn't realize this, but Lux actually has Magi's. Yeah, it's a little dirty. A little dirty. But, I mean, hey, if you're getting a ton of assists, she's 2-1 and 12. I mean, I'm not gonna stop her, I guess. So she has some health. She has some AP in there from that. Hasn't died recently, so that's looking good for her. CS wise, you can look at Jace just farming away like a madman. 7-2 and 4, 177 CS. Look at that build. I mean, he's just stacking up. And as strong as we saw Talon start, he has about 7.3k. But if you compare that to everybody else on the enemy team, the highest gold income for GREE at 7.3k is behind the support. Lux has 7.7k gold. So Epic has really got themselves a good advantage here. And it looks like they're not holding on to a lot of gold here. 1.6k for Ari is a lot of gold. But for the most part, they've spent a lot of their gold. They have a pretty effective advantage here. Still going to want to be careful with that AoE team comp. Always got to respect it. Unless you really want to pour it on with your lead and you actually have a good vision control, but I don't know. We're just gonna have to, both teams just kind of pacing it out, playing the poke game. Neither one wants to really assert dominance anymore. I think maybe a little bit shy after Jace got torn apart there, but I think they shouldn't be. I think they should just go for it if they can get the enemy team. Eat the AoE a little bit, but just try to make sure that you initiate onto Misfortune or Talon and tear them down really quickly, and you don't really have to worry about the rest of the damage on the team. You pretty much only have to disrupt Misfortune or Talon. I think Misfortune might be the easier one since Talon actually can go stealth, has a blink around. He's going to be a lot more elusive. Misfortune's not really elusive. I mean, she has strut, and then once you hit her, she loses that speed buff, doesn't have any other really big disengages, has a flash, and that's it. So I think it might be good just sick Nocturne on her in the team fight. Get to that back line, distract the rest of the AoE team, have everybody else follow up, just deal with Talon, and then once those two are dealt with, you're pretty much golden because Nami and Mumu, Cho'Gath aren't really going to be the ones that are going to tear you down in the end at this point. I actually see Will on Cho'Gath, so he's going a little bit AP, not fully committed. Looks like he's going Warmogs next to try to get tanky yet again. Twin Shadows on Nami. She's going to be utilizing that a little bit. I kind of like that item. It's going to give her another utility slow, which is pretty decent. Maybe it'll make it easier for her to land her stun, her bubble. So I kind of like that play. Ward's going to fade just as they back off out of this. Nocturne with his Oracle is very good. It's going to be able to let him clear a lot of wards around Baron. Both teams pretty much know where each other are. Neither one making a big move at this point. Neither one really wants to face check. You see the ward over the wall. Nice there. Nice reaction. Being able to pick it off. Let's just keep backing off out of this. Hanging around Baron side. No wards coming over actually in from GREE at this point. GREE actually doesn't have a lot of free wards. They only have the Sightstone, but beyond the Sightstone, they actually have no wards in their bank, so they actually can't do anything about this, and Epic is just taking this Baron right now. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting, to say the least. I don't know if they can get a good pickoff, that's good. Now they're starting to get backed off. Nocturne very, very low here. Talon's going to come in, try to focus on the Nocturne. He's not going to be able to do. He's going to be taken out first, and now they have to face Nami. Bullet Time coming in, shredding a lot of members, and here comes in Nocturne. Laser would have picked her up, but they're just going to clean that up, and he might try to put some harassment onto this Misfortune. Trying to get through that beefy front line, though. It's not working out for them, and Misfortune's still up and going to get nommed is Caitlyn. Poor Caitlyn left to die. A lot of poke coming in from the enemy team, but it was a pretty good fight. I think Nocturne definitely... Oh, ho, 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 ho. Pepper is just laying it down on Misfortune. And you know that thought that creeps in the back of your head, I probably shouldn't back here, and then you get hit and you're like, I feel terrible. I feel terrible inside. That horrible feeling. Horrible, horrible feeling. But it's okay. She's going to come back. Nothing big. They're not going to lose Baron for it. But definitely it makes them come out better than they were on the end of that team fight. But you saw how effective that A-Week team comp is, combined with the fact that Nocturne took so much damage from that Baron. Because the thing is, like, if Nocturne doesn't take the damage from that Baron, if that's just a team fight that just happens without him taking that damage, he comes in, instead of running away from Misfortune, he sticks onto Misfortune and probably kills Misfortune. And then it's a lot easier situation to deal with. They can actually use their range and poke to whittle down a Mumu and Cho'Gath. But as it stood, those beefy frontliners, Cho'Gath and a Mumu, they're getting pretty buff right now. Got those Warmogs. Should be able to finish them off pretty soon. Cho'Gath just needs like 100 more gold, and he will be set up with his Warmog. Salsa. Still a lot of the gold onto Talon while we see the gold spread a little bit better onto the team of Epic. Epic, again, really good siege team. Has that top inhibitor exposed. Probably should be pushing towards... Oh, they need to be careful here. They get caught here, it's going to be all sorts of bad business, especially with that Oracle on their opponents. You see Twin Shadows coming in there, slowing down the enemy team. Laser coming in, doing some good AoE team damage. They're becoming a little bit more resistant to that. Especially need to make sure they do not get picked off again. And it looks like they're going to start a Baron again. They have vision control. They have all the warding ever for it. But it looks like, yeah, it looks like GREE has finally broken down their concentration, and they're not going to have a chance to be able to take out Baron now at this point. And they're going to come in a little bit late. Ward comes over, and it has been taken by GREE. So GREE, with this epic poke and wave pushing action that they do have, and mobility, they should be able to close out some turrets now. And considering that top inhibitor is open still, it would make a lot of sense to me, even if they would have just bought up after that Baron and then pushed as 5 after buying up onto that inhibitor, force a fight, win the fight, and close the game. But it looks like they're actually just going to try to siege out some more towers here. They don't have a lot of creeps to push this, so don't know how successful it's going to be right now, but they do have the sustain advantage. Just need to stay away from any good ruptures or a bandage toss. If a Mumu and Cho'Gath pick off a good rupture or a good bandage toss and get into the enemy team, it could be a lot of trouble for them. They need to be careful. Epic's still in a situation where they could throw a little bit here, so need to be smart with how they play this out. Again, main target for them is going to be Talon and Misfortune. Misfortune, obviously, the less escape. And Talon, to do a lot of his damage, he has to get in there. So like we saw in the last team fight, he had to dive in there underneath the Baron, got caught, got picked off, got eaten, and there we go. Ahri is going to be the first target, although she's tanking through this pretty well. She's taking through this pretty well, trying to back off out of this. She is going to be picked off. The rest of the team backing off. They are missing Jace. Jace is completely out of this team fight. The Spell Shield is going to come up, protect a little bit as they decide to back off out of this. Laser coming in, trying to deal some damage. Lux getting a little bit far out here. Looks like Jace turning around, putting a little bit of damage onto Talon. Talon back off out of this. Nami very, very low, getting run down by the Caitlyn. Piltover Peacemaker, not the best. Should probably just stick with auto attacks at this point. It's pretty decent poke, but the damage is kind of lost. Better for her to auto attack with that red buff to try to run down Nami, in my opinion. But now they're pressing back in here. Our man down though. Again, I have to say, the press is interesting, but I'd rather assume you just go up and poke at that inhibitor than to play footsie around this base turret. And we see them actually switching their focus up here. So now they decide, hey, we still have Baron buff. Let's get the most out of what we can. Ahri pushing bottom, but though they don't have 5, so that's kind of the other problem that's going on right now. Talon getting in there, trying to do a little bit of damage, getting poked back off. Well, that's kind of in a precarious situation here. If she got caught by anything, she'd be in a lot of trouble. GREE just content to stick in their base. Ahri started that lane pushing. It doesn't look like it's going to really push for them, though. Probably wanted to basically clear maybe another wave before she abandoned it, but it might push for them. It is eventually going to push for them. It's very, very slowly. Waiting for Ahri to rotate up here. Ahri's going to be able to get in here now. You see them playing between both turrets, keeping both pushed. Gotta respect the inhibitor. Nami almost dies to the laser combo from Lux. And now they're starting to push in here. Will they get some damage on it? They should be able to get a decent amount of damage from Jace if he comes in there and shoots it. And really they just need to focus on getting the auto attack damage off on there. Nice spell shield and attempt to dodge the Banish Toss. Banish Toss is going to miss anyways. Caitlyn coming down from another angle. Again, just constant poke. Inhibitor is going to be pressured now. So now it's going to be kind of go time. They're going to have to see if anybody peels up to try to deal with that. Looks like it's going to be Talon. Talon actually kind of sneaking around there. Has a pink ward like this play from him, so he's going to be able to see what's going on from the other team. Clearing out the was, and they catch out Talon, and Talon is going to be dunked by Pepper right there. Coming in with the hammer of justice. And that is a huge pick off for Epic, and now I have a feeling they're probably going to pour it on. I'd probably just go to the top turret and get it going, and if I was GREE, I probably would have engaged actually right there, or picked one side, engaged really, really quickly before they really come in here too comfortable. Trying to back him off out, and there we see Nocturne coming in onto Misfortune, going to eat a lot of damage. Now Mumu just in the face of Caitlyn, probably going to back her off, dealing out a lot of damage. You see that beefy front line just sticking through here. They're not taking too much damage yet. Finally, Mumu's going to be taken down. Ahri trying to run for it. Laser coming in. Is it going to be able to confirm a kill? Looks like it is, and the only person left right now is Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath's going to be dropped for the ace, and this should be game for Epic. They should be able to close this out. Talon's going to be back very, very shortly. Everybody else down for below 26 plus seconds. This is kind of precarious though. Talon can actually take on Jace pretty well, but unless the rest of the team comes in trying to get onto Ahri. Ahri's backing off out of this, baits him out a little bit, able to convert the kill, and now there's pretty much no hope. Oh, Ahri does fall, but they should be able to pressure down these last Nexus turrets and push in here. Surprised they didn't just go for that right away. They picked up the extra inhibitor, which I mean will help, but the game should be over when you look at the clock and there's only 26 seconds left like that. Looks like they're going to actually back off now because Misfortune and Nami up. So Epic pretty much just their game to win. Their game to win at this point. Bottom lane even pushing for them. Going to go back, buy up. Baron is down, off for them. So they know that they can prep for that, possibly get some more wards when they invade again. But really just needs to go close out that last turret and Hib. You're going to see GREE stuck in their base pretty much defending the entire time. If Baron comes up, that's going to be free for Epic at this point. And yeah, healthy advantage, almost 20k advantage that they've built them for themselves. But it's funny because you look at that and you can even see how tough this AoE team and how threatening it can be. But just some huge pickoffs. Like, it's kind of been the story of the game. I mean, besides the early traps that they set up, early traps that they actually set up for GREE, and they're able to take advantage of their early game and get some kills on Talon, get some spree bonus gold from them. Besides that, it's pretty much been just like really stellar pickoffs onto Talon and so forth. I think that's kind of the key for a lot of this late game, because the Talon pickoff opened up that entire push, the last set of stuff that just happened there, and oh, the laser steals blue. Capitan just no. When they're down, kick them, step on them. that's when it's going bad, it can go worse, and that's just insult to injury right there for GREE. GREE backing off, trying to defend their Nexus. Gonna give up this turret, as they should. There's no reason to defend this outer T turret. Their base turret they could, but a lot of waves pushing in here, probably not gonna be able to do it that effectively. See Jace even with a Guardian's Angel now, so he's going to be even more effective in this team fight. Could tear him down, but he can still has a chance to come back up, be really effective. See that heavy poke coming in. Misfortune already half health. Lux just dealing crazy amounts of damage, just throwing in lasers, constantly poking, been really effective for their team. 2-1 and 21 with the Magi's. It's really paid off for her. Even got a needlessly large rod, so she has pretty decent amount of AP. Let's actually look in here. She actually has 290 AP. Ari has 476, which is a lot better, but 290 AP on a support, pretty healthy amount of AP. Normally don't see that typically, and it's really working out for them. So nice little Curse of the Mummy coming in there, Curse of the Bolt time going off, but it doesn't even melt Lux. You see Nocturne just going in there, just evaporating Nami, slapping her down. Jace coming in, dealing out some more damage as well. Need to get back to those carries. Still haven't been able to do it yet. That Mamu is finally going to fall in here, and now they actually switch the focus back onto Misfortune. The true damage is going to count on the Ari comeback, and now Cho'Gath is going to be able to fall, and that is going to be the ace, and this should be the game for Epic. Nice little closeout by them. Really well played game. Congratulations to them taking this game against GREE. GREE, sorry guys, had a good thing going with your mid lane Talon. Had a pretty good team comp. Had some valiant efforts to defend yourselves, but in the end, Epic closing it out. So thanks everybody for joining me in here. I am Paddo. You can follow me on Twitter at PaddoCast, or you can catch all these VODs at youtube.com/RaiseYourWeaponMedia. I have a playlist set up there that is called AHGL Season 3, so you can find all the B League games I've casted so far in the past few weeks. I think it's it'll be 11 or so games after this is uploaded. So you go there, check out games, see games from previous weeks, check out teams if you're playing the next one. I usually do a little bit of advice analysis in there, so maybe you'll glean something from it that you can change your team, make your team comps better, whatever, make some better choices, whatnot. But yeah, again, you can also hit follow up in the top left corner, and you'll get an email whenever I do go live with any HGL games or any of our Raise Your Weapon Media tournaments, which should be kicking up very shortly here again in the next month or so. So I'll have a lot of cool League of Legends content for you in casting. So again, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys next weekend. If you guys want to check me out, tomorrow night we're actually going to have ESEA Match of the Week. It's going to be Monday night. It's going to be 6 p.m. PST on twitch.tv/ESEA. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll be posting there. Facebook.com/RaiseYourWeaponMedia, I'll be posting there as well about the event. But it should be some front page action. Should have a lot of viewers. Should be a lot of fun. Last time we gave out skins and played Aram in between games. We had 2 matches of the week. Trying to do that this week as well. So come hop in. It'll be a fun time. And everybody else, this is my last game for the night, so have a good weekend and stay safe.